Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. Current time is 7:22 p.m. here on this Sunday evening, December 28th, 2025, 3 days away from the end of the year. And what a way to end the year here in Michigan with what we call a bomb cyclone, I guess. Again, it's not certified until it actually occurs, so we're not there yet. But again, let us know if you can hear me. Sounds like we can. Again, I have a wireless mic on tonight, so a little bit different. I am Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma here with a briefing on this Sunday evening. Feel free to hit that like button and the share button as we come in. And we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, over the next couple days here, again, high temperatures for today, in Lansing, of course, we're in the 40s. Tomorrow, technically, this is at midnight tonight for Lansing, 52 degrees. And then as we get into the evening and overnight hours tonight, those temperatures will rocket off. And this is going to be the theme all across the state of Michigan, not only Lansing, but everywhere you go. Throughout the next really 10 to 14 days, temperatures out there, high temperatures in the 20s, low temperatures down there in the teens and perhaps single digits. So long-term cold upcoming here as we get into the new year. If you're heading to Florida or any other warm location, now is a great time to do so. So we'll go ahead and talk about the matter on hand tonight for our winter weather briefing. Again, this is the main reason why we are live. Figured I'd start off with a little bit of a temperature concern. But again, here is what we're expecting for snowfall over the next 24 hours here in the state of Michigan. Again, lake effect snow is expected as we get into the middle of the week, or the start of the work week into midweek around the New Year's Eve timeframe. So we'll go ahead and roll through our HRRR run. Again, this is going to be the 22Z run. So this was about 5 p.m. is when this model run came out. Going forward here, as you can see, this snowfall accumulates really, really quickly. Again, this is going to be in the next 24 hours across the UP. All of that pink that you see there are totals over a foot, most likely here. And because today that cold front stayed a little bit further south, again, we saw the US 10 corridor and the M20 corridor, M46 corridor, all the way up there north into central Michigan. Again, those temperatures were expected to be in the 40s today. They did not get to the 40s, and so as a result, a lot of that ice was able to accumulate on top of the ice that fell on Friday. They've been kind of around and below those freezing temperatures throughout this entire weekend. So as a result, this cold front's kind of sagged south a little bit, and as a result, further up north, we now have higher snow totals moving in for portions of northern Michigan. Again, we're seeing totals now perhaps near Pellston, near Sheboygan, Petoskey up there, well close to 1.5 feet of snow. Again, this is just one model run. Don't take this one model run to heart, of course, but this is just one of our short-term models that we're seeing that came out very recently here this evening. So that's a lot of snow. If you're up there in northern Michigan, if you're going skiing, snowboarding, it's going to be a good stretch of weather to do so upcoming. Not a good time up there, of course, right now, again, with the winds whipping. We have blizzard warnings in effect out there for pretty much all of the Upper Peninsula, minus the counties that are furthest south and over on the east side of the state. We could see maybe one or two more pop up, but as it stands right now, blizzard warnings all across the northern half of the Upper Peninsula. That includes Gogebic, Ontonagon, Houghton, Keweenaw, Baraga, Marquette, Alger. We also have, I think, Delta and Schoolcraft down there as well, and we also have Luce County. All those counties in the Upper Peninsula in a blizzard warning. And again, they're always going to be scrolling down there at the bottom of the screen. You can also see down here in the lower portions of the state, the lake effect snow belts will kick up for Lake Michigan. And so we see some of those totals along West Michigan from Ludington down to the state line, kind of in that 2 to 5 to 4 to 8 range. It's going to be very localized in spots. So you could go 1 mile down the road, you could have 2 inches. And then you go another mile down the road, it could be 8 inches of snow or higher. It just depends on where the heaviest of the band set up. Again, it's lake effect snow pretty much south of US 10. Again, all that snow that you see up there north of US 10. So that goes from pretty much, that's going to be Manistee over to Cadillac and over to Grayling there. Again, it's a little bit further north than US 10, but you get the general point here. You go further north of that, that's all system snow. So that's that bomb cyclone that we're talking about, all that snow getting wrapped around the back side of that. It is lake induced as well, so it does pick up some lake effect snow on the back side, but a lot of this is coming from that cyclone that's moving through the northern half of the Great Lakes. But again, as you can see, with the heavy winds coming in, you can see some of those bands of lake effect snow moving over onto the east side of the state. Now, the east side of the state, We did have you guys in the 1 to 3 range for pretty much everywhere. The entire state was covered in 1 to 3. We kind of refined it a little bit. Southeast Michigan now in the trace to 1, just because that's going to be the majority for Southeast Michigan. There will be a couple spots in Southeast Michigan that will see that 1 to 4 range. But as it stands right now, if you are in Monroe County, Wayne County, over there in Lenawee County, perhaps even southern Macomb County, we just added you guys to the snowfall still to call map, or still to fall map, trace to 1. And again, that was just posted on our social media pages, Michigan Storm Chasers Facebook, X, and Instagram. So feel free to go check those out. Again, that's the graphic that I just pulled up there. I'm actually going to bring it in live for you guys here. So this is what we just put out on our Facebook page. As you can see there, just to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. 10 to 20, all up there in the red zone. 20 to 30 inches up there in the yellow zones. Come tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, we could see some spots see 30 inches or more by the time it's really all said and done. We have one of our storm chasers up there tonight in Marquette, in the Ishpeming area. Freddie, he's out there right now getting some early looks at the snow. And again, that's going to be where one of the 2 heaviest ranges will set up for this lake effect plus the system snow. So 10 to 20 in red, as I mentioned, 20 to 30 in yellow. We bumped the pink zone from 6 to 10 to 6 to 12, so slight adjustment there, maybe a little bit more snow further south across portions of northern lower Michigan as we get into tomorrow, just because that cold front has sagged a little bit further south. In those blue zones, you can see 2 to 5 to 4 to 8. That's kind of stayed the same over the last 24 hours. And the cyan zone, as I mentioned, has been bumped a little bit to add a couple zones of trace to 1 where we think the snow's, not going to be as great or as guaranteed as perhaps some of these other zones. So that's your updated snowfall still to fall map. We also have to talk about the winds. Go ahead and switch over to our sustained wind gusts. So as a reminder, for sustained winds, we're looking at winds that need to be around 30 miles per hour sustained for blizzard conditions, and we do see that up here along pretty much the lakeshore areas of the Upper Peninsula. You can see kind of where that red mixes in along the lakeshore. Again, with the lakes, lack of friction out there, so that wind can just go and flow unimpeded to everything else, and so that's what we're seeing out there. Overnight tonight picks up into early tomorrow, and you can see as we get into the noon time frame for tomorrow, that's kind of when these northwesterly winds really pick up for the entire state. We go ahead and switch over to our wind gusts, not sustained. Wind gusts are the gusts that it might peak at certain times. These will be peaking at 50 to 60 miles per hour, and that is why we do have high wind warnings out there as well as wind advisories. Now, you guys may have been noticing with those alerts that some of them aren't issued. They got canceled for your area. That's not technically true. They got put into the winter weather alerts for your area. So say you're in, Ottawa County or Allegan County, or even up there in northern Michigan or even in the UP. If you check your winter weather alerts, they actually toss the wind into the winter weather alerts. So the winter storm warning does mention the snowfall and the wind. Same thing with the winter weather advisories. And again, those are all in effect for pretty much 75% of the state. The only side of the state that doesn't have those alerts for winter weather is going to be where the lake effect snow is going to be lesser in amounts. So over there on the east side of the state, where 1 to 4 is possible. So that's where your high wind warnings are in effect. And here are your wind gusts throughout tomorrow. We'll go ahead and back it up here, hour by hour, of course. This is what you guys need to know. So this right now, this is 11 p.m. tonight. You can see some of our gusts starting to pick up around that 11 o'clock time frame. The wind alerts don't start technically until 1 a.m. when it really starts to ramp up. Here is why. Here's 1 a.m. on the HRRR run. You can see those wind gusts really starting to pick up there, especially across the Thumb, Flint, that I-69 corridor, even up there in the blizzard warning, of course, in portions of the Upper Peninsula. Those blizzard warnings actually just started 30 minutes ago for the Upper Peninsula as the snow is just starting. We move into, this is going to be 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and 8 a.m. And you can see pretty much widespread 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts with some peaking near 55 in those orange zones. And that is going to be at 8 o'clock tomorrow. So that's right when everyone's heading off for their morning commute. And as you can see, coming off of Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, all of that lack of friction up there, up and down the lakes, all those gusts nearing 60 miles per hour, especially for Ottawa, Muskegon, Oceana, Mason, all up there to Benzie and Leelanau counties up there in northwestern lower Michigan. So these gusts are going to be roaring throughout the day tomorrow as we move on into the noon time frame. Got 1 o'clock here, and again, that's where the model run ends. If I switch back to our 18-0, and you can see these winds just continue into tomorrow afternoon. This is going to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's really when it starts to wind down, but you can see these wind gusts are going to kind of be the last thing remaining out there besides the snow. And they really don't taper off here until this is going to be 8 o'clock Tuesday morning. Gusts still out there, 20 to 30 miles per hour as we wake up on Tuesday morning. Some places seeing upwards of 35 and 40. And eventually we do get a break on Tuesday. Lake effect snow, as I mentioned here at the beginning of the stream, is expected to continue in lesser amounts as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can see why here as the winds start to die off for Tuesday morning. So that is kind of what's going on in a nutshell. Again, timing tonight, we'll go ahead and go through the precipitation as a last look here. So we have the showers and storms moving through tonight. This is 8 o'clock. This is actually pretty close to current radar out there in the state of Michigan. Just checking real quick. Yep. So this is 8 o'clock tonight. So it's about an hour from now. Then we got 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Anywhere you see in blue up here, by the way, is of course going to be your heavy snow. That's all with that cyclone up there. The center of the cyclone, by the way, is going to be kind of right here in the general vicinity of Gaylord, Traverse City. So if you're really feeling the pressure tonight, if you're feeling sick, again, low pressure does cause some health issues, so keep that in mind. Again, pressure dropping down to about 980 millibars tonight. A strong low pressure system is really anything under 990. So as we move this loop forward, we get into the midnight time frame. This is going to be midnight, as you can see here. This is why the alerts in the lower peninsula don't really start until 1 o'clock, as I showed you the winds. Now I'll show you the precipitation. Here's 1 o'clock. Here is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and all of that lake effect snow and system snow starting to ramp up for the lower peninsula. Continuing for the upper peninsula here as we get into 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. We do have embedded squall lines in there as well, where you see the heavier blues, so that could be a problem for morning commute. We may see maybe a snow squall warning, perhaps for the east side of the state, if that snow squall is confined enough. As a reminder, before I continue here with our loop, a snow squall warning. It's kind of the same as a lake effect snow band. It's very tiny in nature, very skinny, but it also packs quite a punch. With the wind and the snow combined, you get visibilities going from 10 miles down to perhaps a quarter mile or maybe even a couple hundred feet in the span of minutes, maybe even seconds. So we do have to watch this snow squall on the back side of this cold front as it rolls in through the morning commute. This is 7 a.m. As you can see, pretty much blue all throughout the morning commute except for southeast Michigan. And that initial squall will be responsible perhaps for that 1 to 4 that does get picked up on the east side of the state. Otherwise, all that lake effect snow dropping down here as we get into 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And a lot of those blue lines there starting to get more refined in nature, kind of shrinking down a little bit, but it goes to show you that that lake effect snow does continue into early Tuesday morning. And here is, by the time we get into Tuesday morning, around daybreak again. So the main snow that we're watching is through about midnight tomorrow night. So the next 24 hours, that's kind of the zone we're focusing in on. We're going to be up all night. I can tell you guys this right now. Probably posting stuff from Freddie up in the Upper Peninsula, radar updates, power outage updates. Again, power outages right now, if we switch over to Consumers Energy Map, there's a lot out there from existing ice that has accumulated this weekend. As I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, the freezing rain that fell on Friday did not melt up there across the US 10 corridor. And so we have a lot of power outages up here in Clare, Isabella, Osceola, Mecosta, and even Gladwin counties from this event. We expect more power outages tonight. That's going to be one of the things to watch, especially in the zones that got the freezing rain. But again, all throughout the state as we get into tomorrow morning. Again, those high winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour, are expected statewide. So you do have to be careful. If you know you need to go get gas for your generator, now would be a great time to probably go do that. Just in case, again, if you can, feel free. Again, this will be over in the next 24 hours, so just be prepared for, the winds primarily, and also the snow if you are, of course, up in the Upper Peninsula and northern Michigan. Switching back, though, we'll go ahead and switch over to current radar, actually, which is going to be right here. Go to the composite. So we can go show you guys what's all going on out there right now before I go ahead and dive into questions. As you can see, temperatures across the Upper Peninsula in the 30-degree range, so a lot of this is now starting to fall below freezing. That's a lot of heavy snow up there. We also have freezing rain mixing in over into the eastern upper peninsula, and rain mixing with freezing rain still across northern Michigan. And as we get down here into southern Michigan, temperatures in the mid-40s. And you can actually see where that warm front is at right now. If I go ahead and take a line and draw this right here, you can see where those temperatures are 60 degrees in Marshall and 44 in Jackson. That is your warm front right there, about right on 94. So anywhere south of 94 is your area where thunderstorms are going to be going on tonight. If you're north of that, that's just going to be some cold rain, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder mixing in, but overall the severe threat tonight, if any severe is going to pop up, it's going to be kind of in this southeast quadrant. So good news is our severe threat is dwindling very quickly, and the good news is our warm front has kind of stalled out today. As I mentioned, it didn't get that far north, and so if we can get through the next 2 hours here, then we should be severe weather free. But again, prepare for travel issues primarily tomorrow morning, even into tomorrow evening, as this lake effect snow does continue well into tomorrow evening. So if you're in West Michigan, Northern Michigan, of course in the Upper Peninsula where travel is not advised, especially in the blizzard warnings, do take note that it will be hard to just travel in general over the next 24 hours. So we'll go ahead and turn it to the comments here. Again, it's been a very long briefing, I guess you could say, for standards here. Again, I'm the only one in here tonight. We got Ryan and Caleb over on our Indiana page. That is Indiana Weather Network. They are live right now tracking severe weather in Indiana. So feel free to go follow those pages if you haven't. Again, there are affiliate pages. So I'm over here taking care of you guys tonight here in Michigan. We got a couple of new members here over on YouTube. We got Veronica, EF1 member, and Steve, EF0 member. We also have Red Dozier with a $100 super chat saying, "Oh, the weather outside is, for lack of better words, the turd emoji." Much love to the MSC and the mods. Thanks for always being here for us. No problem, Red. Thank you, as always, for your support. One of our longest standing donors here at MSC. Appreciate you. Feel free to hunker down and let us know what you're seeing over the next 24 hours over there in West Michigan. Go ahead and look at some of the other chat here. I'll also pull up our snowfall still in fall map so you guys can look at this while I answer questions. No problem, y'all. Again, feel free to hit that like button if you enjoyed tonight. It all helps the algorithm. Yeah, it's a Great Lakes event tonight. So yeah, I see Buffalo, New York's being mentioned in here for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Another thing to keep in mind is the seishes on the lakes. Lake wave heights over the next 24 hours will be in excess of 20 to 30 miles per hour, kind of similar to those snowfall totals up there, 20 to 30 feet for lake wave heights on all of the Great Lakes. And again, when those waves get pushed to one side of the lake, the water's got to go somewhere. It's got to accumulate somewhere, so it's taking water from the other side of the lake. And so Lake Erie on the east side of the lake could drop down to 3 to 4 feet below its normal level, essentially. And that, again, Lake Erie, for those who don't know, on the east side, sorry, I'm completely flipped. On the west side of Lake Erie, it is very shallow there. And so already ships have a tough time. They have to have a certain route to get through western Lake Erie. You drop those water levels by 4 feet, it's going to be pretty much impossible for any major ships to get through western Lake Erie. So they'll likely issue, if it hasn't been issued already, a low water advisory. Yes, that is a real advisory for portions of Lake Erie. Saginaw Bay is also very shallow, so I wouldn't be surprised if they issue one there or have issued one there yet as well. If there's anything else I'm forgetting to mention, again, the main concerns here for the next 24 hours is the wind and the snow. Again, with these colder temperatures starting to be ushered in, there's a chance of, flash freeze was kind of on the table. We do expect that dry slot to move in. If I go ahead and switch back to our HRRR, you can see there's your dry slot. So our showers are ending here in the next 2 hours. Here is 10 o'clock tonight, so you can see a lot of southern Michigan and even up here in northern Michigan as well in that dry slot for the most part, and we need that dry slot combined with that winds to get those roads cleared, especially those main roads. So here's your dry slot. This goes through pretty much 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and that's really when it starts to pick up for the snow aspect of things. So flash freeze, not really on the table. However, if you are further to the northwest corner of lower Michigan, and in the UP, you've kind of had consistent precipitation all day, so this doesn't really apply to you. It's just going to be slick no matter what. It's just going to be a whole mess up there if you're along US 2, M28 there in the Upper Peninsula. Rain, freezing rain, snow, it's just all going to be a mess. So again, we've already advised you guys, try not to travel over the next 24 hours across the UP if you cannot or can't. Again, the Mackinac Bridge will probably be seeing some closures as well due to the high winds and the combination of the snow. So just a lot of travel information to keep in mind. Again, here at MSC, we can't give you travel advice. We only share what our projected forecasts are. So if you ask us when the best time to leave is, again, we can't legally tell you to do that. So keep that in mind when you are asking your questions, of course. We got a $9.99 super chat from Summer Hughes over here on YouTube saying, ground is saturated, took my dog out, and the ground was squishy. I could see water coming up. Will this have any impacts to weather? So yes, it will. Again, with the ground being very frozen right now, it's hard to get that water to seep in. So those roadways, obviously, those are going to be able to be dried off. However, if you go in a yard or a sidewalk that might have bad drainage, you will likely see that freeze pretty quickly overnight. So definitely salt your parking lots, your sidewalks. If you had to cross your yard, again, putting salt in your yard is not going to be really that effective, but find a way to, perhaps clear your yard if you travel your yard often, especially over the next 12 to 24 hours. We understand a lot of you guys have dogs and you go out in your yard. You don't want to slip on your grass, because that can also become a sheet of ice if there's enough water out there. So good question, Summer. Again, if you are in back roads, especially yards, sidewalks, parking lots, those are going to freeze over, especially since they are less traveled than your main roads. Will there be a chance of shoreline flooding with the wave heights expected to push water inland? Yes, so there are lakeshore flood advisories and lakeshore flood warnings for portions of, I believe, Marquette, Alger, Keweenaw, Houghton, and Ontonagon counties. I might be missing one up there, primarily in the Upper Peninsula, just because of the heavier winds off of Lake Superior. So would not be shocked to see them off of Lake Michigan as well, but there aren't any advisories for lakeshore flooding from the National Weather Service Gaylord or the National Weather Service Grand Rapids as of right now. So going back to our snowfall map, again, we really didn't change much in terms of West Michigan. It's kind of always been in that 2 to 5 to 4 to 8 range. It's been refined a little bit closer to the lakeshore just because it's only going to be lake effect down here. That's the number one thing to remember for portions of West Michigan. It's only lake effect. So your time for lake effect will be pretty much after 1 a.m. tonight through the evening commute tomorrow. And again, if we see those heavier winds, then it's going to blow a lot of that snow away. And so it's going to be hard to kind of get those heavier totals here in Michigan. We've seen this many times already this winter where those winds, you get 3 inches of snow, but those winds just carry it all far away. It turns into drifts against the side of your house. And you go out there and measure, and you're only like, oh, I got 1 inch. So just something to keep in mind. But 2 to 5 inches is kind of the going rate for Grand Rapids. Again, it could be 2, or it could be 5, or it could be anywhere in between. For our chasers out there, shout out to our chasers, of course, that are going to be out getting these views over the next 24 hours. We got Freddie up there in the UP tonight. He is in the Marquette area, and we'll have Drew going out tomorrow morning. I think some of the other guys are going out as well tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon as well, to help out with covering the lake effect snow and perhaps the snow up north. So we'll be very attentive to the page over the next 24 hours, so make sure you're following us here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Again, these posts that you see, if you're watching on YouTube, are all going to be over on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads as well. Those are the main pages we post to. Facebook is our #1 platform that we post all of our forecasts to. So keep that in mind. Our Facebook page is Michigan Storm Chasers. Make sure to follow us. It has the blue check mark next to it just to give you guys an idea. But yeah, those are your snow totals still to fall. Again, the biggest adjustments where we removed the 20 to 30 from the Keweenaw, a little less forcing going on up there than previously expected, especially with the shift in the track They'll still get probably 10 to 20 in those upper ranges, but widespread 20 to 30, not as expected anymore. We are also, again, if you guys are up there in central Michigan and are able to send in your freezing rain reports, again, we do appreciate them. It's kind of the unsung hazard right now as we're tracking the winds and the snow. But again, as we get these winds picking up tonight, those are going to bring down a lot of those trees that are still iced over from Friday, especially those areas north of really M20, which kind of crosses Mecosta and Isabella County, points north of M20. Again, that runs pretty much from Newaygo over to Saginaw. So north of that line, that area really did not get above freezing over the last 60 to 70 hours. So keep that in mind. Again, a lot of you guys are already experiencing it out there. A lot of trees coming down. In fact, I think I saw Clare County is now at... Where's it at? There it is. They're at 60% without power. So that is a lot of outages for Clare County. Oops. Just turned on my music with my headphones. But yeah, there is your power outage map right now. 43,000 without power. And they're primarily across Mecosta, Osceola, Clare, Gladwin, Midland, and Isabella counties. As well as we have Lake, Wexford, and Missaukee County. A lot of questions coming in tonight. Feel free to drop your important ones. Appreciate them. Winds are supposed to pick up at 1 a.m. for most of the state. Again, that's when the wind advisories and the high wind warnings go into effect, as well as many of the winter alerts out there. Yeah, a huge shout out to the linemen out there tonight, especially those guys that are working through the elements, as well as all of our plows, emergency responders, anyone that has to do with these day-to-day activities of getting, necessary stuff online. So huge shout out to you guys. Again, we appreciate you so much for keeping the power running or getting it restored and keeping the roads nice and cleared out there. We'll talk about Tuesday probably by tomorrow night. We're going to get through the first 12 to 24 hours of this event before I start talking about Tuesday. So you'll see an update on Tuesday probably sometime mid-afternoon tomorrow. Again, current time is 7:50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma. Feel free to smash that like button. We have gone through the meat and bones of this briefing in terms of precipitation and wind and timing. Again, we'll go through timing again once more for precipitation tonight for you guys that may have just be tuning in. We got 7 o'clock, so this is going to be 8 o'clock, so this is in about 10 minutes from now. This is what the radar is supposed to look like, and it actually does match it pretty well. So here is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Anywhere in the green is the rain. Anywhere in the purple and the pinks is the mixed precipitation, such as freezing rain. Blue is snow. So think about that as we go on here. Again, I got to change this over here. One sec. Where'd my tab go? It will not let me get back to my tab. There we go. Sorry, y'all. Back it up. So here's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. There's midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, 6. It's always good to remember where you're located on a map here. Again, we don't have cities listed, so we live here in Michigan where you can just point to your hand and kind of figure out where you're located here. So good to keep that in mind as we go through these maps. Again, this is going to be 6 a.m. in the morning. Got a heavy snow squall perhaps over the Grand Rapids area. Lansing also maybe getting under that snow squall. 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10. Most of the state seeing a lot of snow throughout the morning hours. We get to 11 and noon and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get to 7, 8, 9. A lot of the snow is pretty much left the state besides remaining lake effect snow for that 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and midnight time frame for Monday. So that is your hour by hour. We did not do a map, I don't believe, on percentage chance of losing power. Again, with the entire state seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, there's a lot of factors that go into how you lose trees. Every tree is built different. Certain parts of Michigan have softwood versus hardwood trees. We have ice accumulating on softwood and hardwood trees. So there's a lot going on out there that run into where these heavy winds go through. You have properties of friction going on. So you know how the lakes have the lack of friction. Well, there's some open spots in Michigan, such as all those open farm fields. Again, you get those winds roaring across, nothing really starting or really stopping them. That causes, forests on the far side of those open spaces to also lose a lot of trees. So a lot of factors that go into perhaps percentage chance of losing power. So we don't have a map for that. But again, with the entire state seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, the chances are pretty much equal wherever you go, besides the places that have seen ice so far, and those chances are heightened there, as we've seen this evening, as the power outages are now still closing in on 45K. We have Pikachu back for month number 18 here at MSC on YouTube. Appreciate you. Saying roads around Flint have closed due to flooding. Thank you very much for that update. Yes, a lot of rain out there today. We were calling for an inch to an inch and a half in some spots. Of course, some places probably exceeded that in localized spots. Wouldn't be surprised, again, if some of those totals were heightened due to the fact that the ground is frozen. And so, again, it puddles up a lot easier. But, again, I think I saw I-75 was closed. So, thank you again for that report, Pikachu, and thank you for becoming a member for 18 months. We have Julian here, one of our mods, back for month number 20 as an EF3 member, saying, any Thundersnow possible? I didn't get my spring and December thunder today. Thank you very much, Julie. The answer, as of right now, if you don't get any in the next 2 hours, you're pretty much kind of SOL for your Thundersnow. So the best ingredients for thunder are within the boundary, the warm front boundary that's currently moving across the I-94 corridor. So as that moves off to the east, our chances for thunder dwindle very, very quickly. Very slim chance, of course, within our snow squalls that we do get perhaps a bolt of lightning or two. I would say at this time, not likely. So don't get your hopes up if you are hoping for Thundersnow. We got Charles in here with a $6.82 super chat saying, hey, I know this is Michigan, but for zip code 45334 in Ohio, I would have to look up where that's exactly at. Can we see some black ice and snow tomorrow? If so, how much? Thank you. Happy holidays. Thank you very much, Charles. Said it's for 45334. Check this out real quick. Jackson Center, Ohio. Just to get a good example, I'm guessing this is probably going to be in the the western portion. Yeah, so you guys are really far south, going to be kind of outside of the snow range. However, again, with the freezing temperatures moving in overnight, black ice is definitely a possibility there. So, and this goes for any of our portions of the states south of us, so Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. They're also getting this very cold temperature drop tonight. So if you guys are south of the state line, definitely a flash freeze possible for you guys there. Thundersnow is simply thunder that's happening when it is snowing outside. Michael, I beg to differ. Our accuracy rating this year has been 80% or better for pretty much every event. So I hate to prove you wrong, but you are wrong. Again, if we were 100% right for the state, then you guys would be suspicious that we'd have a crystal ball here at MSC. We don't. Just a disclaimer. But, again, if we had a crystal ball, we'd be able to get it right 100% of the time. But again, nobody does. Still, accuracy rating this year for pretty much every event has been 80% or higher, which is what we strive for. Snow starting for the lower Michigan area, pretty much like I mentioned, at 1 a.m. or later. So this frame that you see on your screen is midnight tonight off the latest HRRR run. Well, technically, the main HRRR run that was at 2 o'clock this afternoon, 3 o'clock this afternoon. So still, if we forward this to now, the latest one, it's about the same time. Not really much of a change there. Again, here's 1 a.m., as I mentioned here, for West Michigan. We move it over to 3 a.m., and that snow really starts to move to the east side of the state. We get closer to 5 and 6 o'clock, and that snow squall, that first snow squall, as you can see there in those heavier blues, moves over to the southeast side of the state, where anywhere in the southeast side of the state is going to get that trace to 1, or if you're lucky, you'll sit in that 1 to 4 zone where that lake or that snow squall does kind of kick up your totals a little bit. So overall, though, the heaviest of the snow is going to fall to the west of US 131 and, of course, north of US 10, up there where the system snow is ongoing. Yes, so the concern for flash freeze has gone down significantly, especially on main roads. Now, if you are in an area with a lot of back roads, I've seen a lot of ice and a lot of rain, and it's just kind of pooling up everywhere, especially parking lots, grassy areas as well. It's going to freeze no matter what. It won't flash freeze, but it will freeze at some point overnight. So you do want to take your necessary precautions to getting those areas nice and tidied up. Yes, we do appreciate any reports you guys want to send in to us. When you do send in your reports to us, make sure to send in a time, a location, a measurement as needed, and if we do have permission to share on our social media pages. If it's someone else's video, make sure you get permission from them first before you share it with us, of course. Yeah, we'll always have haters. It's okay. We don't care about the haters. It's fine. If they get too much, we just block them. It doesn't matter to us. So, yes, general weather pictures are appreciated as well. Again, we do appreciate those ice photos you guys have been sending in, especially since we haven't really heard much out of the central Michigan area. Besides a couple of you guys have been messaging us, so we do appreciate those. A lot of resources for you guys here at Michigan Storm Chasers. We have resources for you guys in terms of where you want to send in your reports. So you can write this down if you want, or record this on your phone, take a screen recording, any way you want to do this. We have multiple ways to put in your reports. So we got Discord, discord.gg/Michigan Storm Chasers. That is a separate app. If you're on Facebook, we have a group called Michigan Weather Reports. Additionally, you can also send in your reports to us on Messenger or via email. That email is contact@michiganstormchasers.com. It's going to be the slowest way to do it. The best way to do it, of course, is going to be in the comments section of any of our posts. So yeah, here's your snow totals from the HRRR over the next, we'll go back to the 18Z run here since that shows the full picture. Here's your snow totals through the end of the day on Monday. Again, a lot of zones up there in the Upper Peninsula right now, 20 to 30 inches possible. Again, off the official weather models here. Again, this was one of the models out of the 12 that we used to figure out where the totals are going to be greatest. As meteorologists, we kind of have to figure out the biases, where we want to reduce, where we want to add the totals. So this is just one of 12 different models that we currently used for our still to call map tonight for portions of especially northern Michigan. Again, we reduced the Keweenaw Peninsula, if you guys missed it, from that 20 to 30 range down to the 10 to 20. Again, a lot of that snow is already falling, or again, because the system has moved just a little bit south, Keweenaw Peninsula, the lift there not going to be as potent as portions of central and eastern Upper Peninsula. So yes, these are real totals that you can see here for the Upper Peninsula coming in the next 24 hours. We'll go ahead and take maybe a couple more questions here. Good comment there. Yes, we do have lake cameras. Again, it's nighttime now, so not sure if you're going to see too much out there, but we do have cameras set up along some of the lakeshore areas, specifically Ludington. We got Manistee, and we also have Port Huron out there, so you want to check out those cameras tomorrow. We do have a Port Huron cam. Sorry, Port Austin is live. Harbor Beach is not live, but we do have a camera for Harbor Beach, and if there is interest, we'll go ahead and share that, maybe perhaps a live stream tomorrow alongside our live stream tomorrow, which we may do for winter weather coverage, especially since we do have chasers that will be out there in the field. Has been a wacky day so far, with severe weather to our south and snow starting to our north. Yeah, no problem. Low pressure for the storm so far. I'll go ahead and check here. I'll have to go to our METAR stations behind the scenes. See what I can pull up. If it lets me. It's going to take forever to load here. So far, I see rapidly dropping Traverse City. Pressure down to 991. And again, it'll bottom out overnight tonight. So it's expected to get down towards 980 over the next 12 hours. So it's well on its way. A lot of our METAR stations, which are our weather stations, have a red down arrow, which means rapidly decreasing in the last 3 hours across northwest Michigan, which is where this low pressure system is located. Our live cams can be found at Michigan Weather Network. That is the name of our YouTube page. If one of the mods wants to link that in chat, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Julie. But yeah, this is going to be probably the end of the stream here. Current alerts out there, if I can figure them out. There we go. Zoom out. So here is your active alerts across the United States. And if we zoom in, Michigan has alerts in all 83 counties. So those orange counties you see up there in the Upper Peninsula are your blizzard warnings. The pink counties are your winter storm warnings. The violet, medium violet blue color is your winter weather advisories. You also have wind advisories in the tan, which really just encompass a lot of the Ohio River Valley, plus here up in Michigan. And those golden counties are your high wind warnings. Essentially, for those who are curious about the difference between a wind advisory and a high wind warning, it's a difference of 5 miles per hour, honestly. The wind advisory is in effect for winds up to 55. The high wind warnings over on the east side of the state are winds up to 60. That's basically the same miles per hour. So either way, if you're in a wind advisory or a high wind warning, it's all the same. You do want to be prepared for wind damage, isolated to scattered power outages as well, anywhere you are in the state. And of course, if you're on the winter storm warnings, the blizzard warnings, winter weather advisories, you have snow on top of that with drifts possibly multiple feet tall. You got to remember that. It's not something to take lightly. You do want to be mindful of those drifts out there, especially if you're in those blizzard warnings. Across the Upper Peninsula, those drifts up there could be as tall as your vehicle. So keep that in mind. But yeah, these are all the warnings across the United States. If you're down there in Indiana today, you can see lots of severe thunderstorm warnings going on. We had a couple tornado warnings in northwest Indiana and northeastern Illinois today. The closest those tornado warnings got to Michigan were about 50 miles away, so we were really close to doing severe weather coverage, but good news is that warm front stayed south for just enough amount of time that our severe weather has held off. And in fact, I don't believe we're going to get any severe weather sneaking into the southeast corner of Michigan. I'll take a look. As it stands right now, I'm not going to knock on wood. There is a couple cells embedded within the rain, southern Hillsdale County, but other than that, we should be good. I'm looking at specifically this cell right here. That cell right there. That's the one I'll be watching. There's a couple heavier showers up here in southern Washtenaw, central Lenawee County, but other than that, the hazards for severe weather are going to be primarily with this line here in Fort Wayne and points south. Or you can see these are orange boxes. In fact, there's your tornado warning that's on the radar there in Evansville, south of Evansville, Indiana, Henderson, Kentucky. So that's really far south. But that is all part of the same cyclone that is going through the Great Lakes region. It's a very colorful map out there, as you can see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and roll dark purple covering Lake Michigan. Oh, that's the storm warning. That's basically for gales on the lakes. Pretty much that. I'll go ahead and take a look at those real quick, since you guys were curious. Storm warning. Yeah. Wind gusts up to 55 knots, waves 15 to 20 expected in spots till 1 a.m. Tuesday. So storm warning for Lake Michigan is that purple. So yeah, we'll go ahead and roll through our sponsors here, our trusted partners. If you're a business and would like to become a trusted partner here for 2026, feel free to reach out to us. Chandler can be contacted. Chandler is our vice president / marketer. His email is chandler@michiganstormchasers.com. Again, you can get your business featured here at Michigan Storm Chasers. And again, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our trusted partners, our sponsors. So appreciate you guys very much. All of these sponsors that we'll go through here in just a second are trusted, licensed, and insured background checks, of course. So we do the dirty work for you guys, making sure that they are all trusted partners. That's why we call them trusted partners. So again, feel free to reach out to these people and these partners when severe weather strikes your neighborhood. Again, a lot of these sponsors do dabble in restoration work and, of course, exterior home construction. Starting first with our longest standing sponsor, StormGuard Roofing and Construction, based out of Southeast Michigan. You got Katz Roofing and Siding, based out of the Potterville area, covers that 69 corridor from Lansing to Battle Creek. You got Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding for all of your roofing needs in Sanilac and St. Clair counties. Could be a lot of tree damage out there, so turn to McKay Tree Specialists for all of your tree care needs. Go to the best with McKay Tree Specialists in Southeast Michigan. And for the best in West Michigan, you got Kuiper Tree Care. Number is there on your screen. For all of your barn dominium needs across the Lower Peninsula, feel free to turn to FBI Buildings. In Livingston County, you have On Top Roofing. In West Michigan, you also have Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors. A-Class Construction and Restoration, based in Mason County. Going back to West Michigan, we have Rainbow Restoration. For all of your two-way walkie-talkie LTE wireless needs here, we use these here at Michigan Storm Chasers, Rapid Radios, a company based out of Grand Rapids. We've got Guardian Technologies for all of your security camera needs. They are also our weather camera network hosts. That's why we have our 90. That's how we have our 91 weather cameras out there. It's all thanks to Guardian. We also have Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. Feel free to donate to families in need. Feel free to call the number on your screen or visit their website. Going back to tree care needs in Southwest Michigan, your number one stop shop for all of your tree care needs in Southwest Michigan is American Arbor. For all of your restoration and mitigation needs, turn to Apex in the Thumb and Genesee County. And lastly, Clear Plow Snow Pushers. It's a Michigan-based company that specializes in devices for clearing your driveways, makes them a lot easier than the average shuffle would. So feel free to turn to Clear Plow. Their number there is on the screen. Again, locally owned and operated in Frankenmuth, Michigan. As I mentioned there, if you guys are just tuning in, if you would like to become a sponsor/trusted partner, you can contact Chandler. His email is chandler@michiganstormchasers.com. Again, we are looking for partners as we head into 2026. And again, it's you guys, all your partners, all you guys that it's a whole group effort, helps us stay operational 24/7, 365 days a year. So thank you very much in any ways that you guys have contributed here at Michigan Storm Chasers. With that being said, seeing as there's no more super chats, no more big questions here, we'll go ahead and roll the outro. We'll have more content coming here on our page throughout the night. I'm going to go ahead and work on a timing map for snowfall arrival here in the state of Michigan. So if you guys missed it at the start of the briefing, feel free to watch the briefing back. I went through the radar loop a couple times, but I'll get a snowfall start time map here out for you guys as we get into the later evening hours tonight. Again, it'll probably be out by 9 o'clock. I would say between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Expect that map on our social media pages. Once again, our social media pages are Michigan Storm Chasers on anything. So just search in Michigan Storm Chasers. You'll find us there. We are actually closing in on 600,000 on Facebook, so feel free to drop us a follow over there. Big milestone coming up. We'll probably have more merch giveaways coming up too as a moment of celebration. But again, all of our forecast maps can be found first and foremost on Facebook, as well as X, Instagram, Threads, and we also have all video content, as always, on TikTok, Twitch TV, and YouTube. With that being said, anything else before I jump out of here? Ironwood is in the 10 to 20 zone. So kind of an average snowfall, if you would, for up there in Ironwood. Yeah, no more questions, so I'll go ahead and roll the outro. Again, I am Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma, signing off for tonight. Stay safe out there. We'll be back for more updates, and we'll have posts, as always, throughout the night, as we mentioned, here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Make sure to hit that like button and the share button as we head out, and we'll talk to you very soon here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Take care, everyone. Thank you, mods, for hosting tonight. Or thank you, mods, for taking care of chat tonight. And we'll talk to you guys soon.